John Warboys victims welcome news that the Justice Secretary will do everything he can to keep him in prison. Concerns that patients and students could be affected if the government contractor Carillion collapses. The UKIP leader, his model girlfriend and her alleged racist comments about Meghan Markle. No hope of survivors. An oil tanker burning for more than a week explodes, then sinks off the coast of China. Teetering on the edge, a packed passenger plane skids along a Turkish runway and nosedives towards the sea. First Hollywood, now fashion. Mario Testino, the photographer behind these images, accused of sexual exploitation. And in Sportsline at 7:30, Liverpool win 4-3 against Manchester City, ending City's unbeaten run in the Premier League. Very good evening to you. Victims of convicted rapist John Warboys have welcomed the news that Justice Secretary David Gauke intends to do everything he can to keep him in prison. A parole board plan to approve his release later this month, after less than a decade behind bars, led to a public outcry. And today, the Conservative Party chairman said there's plenty of political will to challenge that decision in court. Sky's Enda Brady has this report.
The King's Road in Chelsea was one of the London locations where John Warboys drove as he targeted his female victims. That legal challenge. Enda Brady, Sky News.
And that story is likely to feature prominently in tomorrow's papers. We'll be taking a first look at those at 10:30 tonight with the Daily Telegraph's Brexit editor Dia Chakravarti and the editor of Politics Home, Kevin Schofield. Now, there's a warning tonight that parents and school children could be adversely affected if the government contractor Carillion goes into administration. Crisis talks are being held to try and save the company, which builds and operates hospitals for the NHS and manages nearly 900 schools. As Sky News first reported last week, the construction giant is crippled by debt, with major public projects like HS2 high-speed rail link and nearly 20,000 jobs also on the line. Sky's Don Parmenter reports.
This is the kind of major project Carillion prides itself on. All that works. Tom Parmenter, Sky News in the West Midlands.
UKIP members are calling on their leader to stand down over racist remarks allegedly made by his girlfriend. Henry Bolton's partner Joe Marnie sent a series of text messages in which he reportedly criticised Prince Harry's fiancée, Meghan Markle, saying she'd been suspended, but many inside the party believe Mr Bolton must go. Well, our political correspondent Tom Rayner is in Westminster for us. And Tom, a lot of pressure building on Mr Bolton tonight.
There is. I've spoken to several people within UKIP over the course of the afternoon and evening, and it does appear that there is huge pressure mounting on the UKIP leader from the party's MEPs, from its members in both the London and the Welsh assemblies. And I think one of the central, perhaps an indication there, that the leader who was voted in just in September thinks that he can fight on a little longer. OK, Tom, thank you. A teenager who's become the face of the Palestinian resistance is due to find out her fate tomorrow. 16-year-old Ahmed Timani was filmed kicking and slapping 2 Israeli soldiers and could face up to 10 years in prison. For some, she's seen as part of the new generation of protesters, but critics argue she's being used as a pawn in a wider propaganda battle. Our Middle East correspondent Alex Rossi reports now from the West Bank.
They are powerful images which went viral on social media. A Palestinian girl confronts an Israeli soldier in the occupied West Bank.
An Iranian oil tanker burning for more than a week in the East China Sea has sunk. The vessel was carrying 136,000 tonnes of light crude oil from Iran and collided with a cargo ship off the coast of Shanghai. 3 bodies from the crew of 32 have been found, but Iranian officials say there's no hope of survival for those still missing. Sky's Siobhan Robbins has this report.
For 8 days it burned. An Iranian tanker transformed into a floating bomb. Production. Siobhan Robbins, Sky News.
Now, extraordinary footage has emerged of the moment a passenger jet overshot a runway in Turkey and was left dangling over the edge of a cliff just a few feet away from the sea. Well, the plane was carrying 162 passengers and only came to a stop when its wheels dug into the muddy cliff. That was at Trabzon Airport in northeast Turkey, as our correspondent Joe Tidy now reports.
It stopped just metres from the water. Joe Tidy, Sky News.
You're watching Sky News. Coming up, fashion photographers Bruce Weber and Mario Testino are facing allegations of sexual assault.
Available now.
Now, it began with Hollywood, and now the fashion industry is under the microscope, with two prominent photographers facing allegations that they sexually exploited male models and assistants. Mario Testino has photographed Madonna, Michelle Obama and even the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, while Bruce Weber is best known for his fashion campaigns for Calvin Klein and Ralph Lauren. Well, both men say they're shocked by the accusations but have been suspended from working for magazines including Vogue. Emma Birchley has this report.
Images from the camera of one of the most influential fashion and portrait photographers on the planet falls under the spotlight. Emma Birchley, Sky News.
A manhunt's underway for a suspected Crossbow killer. Humberside police are appealing to find Anthony Lawrence after his neighbour, Shane Gilmer, and his pregnant girlfriend were attacked at their home near Driffield on Friday night. Mr. Gilmer died of his injuries yesterday.
From warm, flowing island winds to an enchanting desert breeze.
Monday looks colder and windier, with early rain in the south clearing to leave sunshine and wintry showers. Before then, southern Britain will have a dry evening, but it will be wet and windy elsewhere, with severe gales in northern Scotland. Heavy rain and strong winds will move across England and Wales overnight, clearing to blustery showers for much of Scotland, Ireland and Northern Ireland. It'll be largely frost-free, but northwest Scotland will turn cold, with snow on the hills there. On Monday morning, rain over southern Britain will largely clear to leave a mix of sunshine and showers for most, and heavy downpours will bring the risk of hail and thunder with snow on northern hills. It'll be rather cold and windy with gales in the north and the west. The afternoon will bring further heavy showers, most frequent in the north, with snow falling to quite low levels in Scotland and Northern Ireland later on.
The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
Now we've got Sportsline coming up in a moment. Let's find what's featuring.
Yeah, we've got the world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua announcing his next fight.